Alright, y'all, I'm here with another video. So normally I don't really do Iyanla Fix My Life because I be like an emotional wreck and I don't want to be telling my own personal business half the time because I be relating on a whole different level. But we need to talk about this past episode that just happened. I just want to touch, I'm gonna go, okay. With this, I'm not gonna necessarily go through like a play by play. I am, but at the same time I kind of really just want to talk about some like overarching themes in general that I kind of picked up on throughout the episode. So if y'all don't know, this is episode 3 that I'm talking about. This is the part 2 from the season finale of her show last year, or the last season that she had, when you had the father and the mama and they wasn't really getting along because he real angry, and then you got the kids and the how they have a fallout. And then at the very end, the grandmama said, one of the granddaughters asked, like, I want to know why you don't like me. And she was just like, I love my grandkids, but I don't like you. And that's kind of where we ended on that. So we're back with these people, okay? So let me see. Where should we start? It's a lot going on here. Okay, so Iyanla addresses the whole family, so everybody is there this time except the twins, okay? The twins are not there. For whatever reason, they decided that they did not want to come. But we did get Little Mark on this episode, and we didn't get him last time. Now, Little Mark is the oldest brother, okay, out of all of them. I want to touch on. Oh, how am I about to start crying? And I didn't even say a word. I am want to touch on being the eldest sibling, the weight that's behind that, the unspoken responsibilities that come behind that, the guilt that comes behind that, the shame that comes behind that, the happiness sometimes that comes behind that. I am the eldest of all my siblings. So this episode, it really hit me right in my heart because I felt Little Mark. Like, I mean, I felt him at a spiritual level. I felt him like through the screen, Like, we got 2, 3 screens in between us, and I still felt every word that he said. I We will get there, okay? So when we start off, like I said, she's addressing the whole family. She gives everybody, like, it's a big card on the wall, and she gives everybody a piece of the heart. They have their names on it, and she kind of talks about, we're gonna kind of go through all of this and see exactly where everybody's at. Let me start off with grandma, okay? So she starts off with the grandma. Now, like I said, y'all know last time, on the last episode that they had, it ended with her saying pretty much, now the grandma wasn't there pretty much the whole episode until the very end, and she said at the end, that she did not like Jaden. She's like, I love my grandkids, but I don't like Jaden. And Iyanla said, she was like, I forgot what she said. She said, I would literally stab myself in the eye before I fix my face to tell any of my grandchildren that I don't like them. So she wanted to address that first. So when she sat down and she spoke to, I forgot what her name is. Is it Miss Dorothy? I think it's Miss Dorothy. Um, she's asking her, she's like, this is grandma to grandma, you know what I mean? And like, you are the queen mother. And she was like, I never looked at myself like as the queen mother before, but okay, I like that. And she was like, I need you to understand. I need to understand, what is your issue with Jayden? And she was like, it's not that I don't like her, because I do. I love her. It's not that I don't like her, because I do. Her problem is with Jamil, okay? That's her problem. One of the main things I want to talk about in this video that this episode touched on is the Oedipus complex, aka, if y'all know what that is, if y'all watch Bates Motels, then that kind of shows you the relationship between mothers and sons, and how sometimes, not sometimes, a lot of times, that relationship very much so lends into when a man becomes of age and he gets a wife and he gets his own family. um where do I even start with this? There's just so much going on. There's just so many things I want to say. There's just like, so I want y'all to work with me again. This is really just like a off of the dome freestyle, me like talking as I go type of thing. So I'm sorry if everything doesn't make sense. I'm sorry if everything isn't necessarily in order. I'm sorry if I skip around. But this is something I really just wanted to do from my heart. Iyanla talks about, because I'll talk about it later, but I'll talk about it now. Iyanla talks about in this episode how Dorothy pretty much made Mark her husband, okay? Her emotional husband. And the fact that I see that, so much. I mean, I can count on both hands how many relationships that I see women with sons, because there is not a man around, how they will lean on their son who is still a child, okay? But lean on them emotionally, sometimes even financially, for them to get through. Now, I understand that your kid is your motivator. It's what pushes you to get up and go out every day. But I think as a mother, you are doing a big ass disservice to yourself and specifically your child when you make your child pretty much carry the burden of your own emotional, physical, whatever the fuck needs it is. You are now, as a mother, pretty much saying to your child, and Iyanla said this, you're pretty much implying to them without saying it that they are the man of the house. And I hate when people refer to children, to little boys as being men of the household when there's no man around, because they are still a child. They don't even know what that means half the time until you start implementing and start saying certain things to them. So that's why a lot of these young men, they feel like they have to. Their mama might have never said it to them a day in their life, like, oh, you the man of this house, or oh, you need to be doing this, that, and the third. But the way that you interact with them, the way certain things that you say will automatically lend to a child at a young age for them to think, well, there ain't no other man around, right? Or there is a man around, but he's trash and he ain't my daddy. Or there is a man around, he my daddy, but he ain't shit. So I gotta now, at the age of 8, 9, 10, 11, sometimes even 7 to 6. Hell, I'll go all the way up to the time you fucking 15 to 16, because that's when it really starts kicking in. That you now, as the child, as a young man, has to now not only navigate through your own personal life and becoming a man, especially when there is not a male figure in your life. Not only are you trying to navigate becoming a young man, you are also now burdened with the fact that, I'm sorry, y'all, hold on. Turn it off. You're also now burdened with the fact that you got to take care of your mama, that you got to take care of your siblings, because you're the man of the house. It does such a fucking disservice to that child and to you as a mother to put that type of expectation on your child. Hold on one second. I'll probably touch on that more a little bit later, but let's move on. Let's go to Little Mark, okay? So, like I said, Little Mark wasn't there, so she talked to, Iyanla talked to him via Zoom. While she did that, she told, Miss Dorothy, hey, I'm going to put you in another room. I want you to watch as I talk to him. And she talked to him, about his experience. And he pretty much said that, he lived with his mom for a tad bit. Then the mom dropped him off to a grandmother's house. And then eventually, I think his dad came and got him. Now, he said when he married Jamil, it's kind of when a lot of things started to shift. He said he came in the house one day. He didn't speak to Jamil. And, his father, like, jumped on him, dragged him down the stairs, beat his ass. And from that day forward, it has only been nothing but violence between them two. He talks about how, let me see, so he talks about that, and how he just had such a strained relationship with his father, specifically because of the physical stuff and the fact that Mark is an alcoholic, which I wish we would have touched on that a little bit more, but we really didn't. But it's okay, it's fine. So he pretty much said there got to a point in time where it was like, I have to go or there's gonna be a real issue. However, in doing that, he kind of sort of left his siblings behind in a way. Not left them behind, but he stopped communicating with his siblings, which is where their issue comes in. So there's a conversation now. Iyanla sets up the thing for Mark, for little Mark to talk to Jaden, Ashley, and Jordan. And you could tell Jordan's whole body language was just completely off. Now, when Little Mark gets on the screen, he explains to them. He says, "Hey, I'm gonna let you guys know that I was not trying to abandon you guys. I wasn't trying to leave you guys. I had to do what was best for me." Hold on, I'm really about to start crying. Hold on. Fuck it, I don't care. This whole little section right here, it hit me in a different way because I am Little Mark. Do you get what I'm saying? I am him in the sense of, okay, one of the things he talked about is what I went through versus what you guys went through are two completely different things. Okay? I'm sorry, I had to type something out. What I went through versus what you guys went through, there's two different experiences, two completely different experiences. I understand that full-heartedly. When my parents had me, they were teenagers, okay? And so once they had my other siblings, they were a little bit older. Not like ridiculously older, but they weren't teenagers. They were grown people by the time. So the experience that I have growing up is vastly, I mean, it is light years apart from what my younger siblings have had to go through. So sometimes when I'm like expressing myself, or if I'm having a tiff with like my parent or something like that, I had to explain to my sister that's like right underneath me that where I'm coming from a different place than you guys are, because my experience of them, kind of like how Iyanla talks about like your experience of one person is not the same as the next. My experience of growing up is not the same as you guys. I went through a whole lot more, so my lens of how I view everything is completely different. And I wholeheartedly understand it, Little Mark, when he said, I had to leave that situation because if I didn't, it was going to get bad. I get that. I have been there. I have had to separate myself because of the fact that I knew at a certain point in time I didn't have the mental withdrawal to walk away. I didn't have the I'm not as close to Christ as my mama is. I don't have that withdrawal or that spirit in me to just say, this is how somebody is, let me just walk away. See, no. It's going to get active if I stay. So I actually have to remove myself from this situation. However, what I will say that where Mark went wrong is the fact that you cut off all, communication with your siblings. Now, there was at one point in time where I did that as well. And that's more so because I feel, and this is just me personally, I didn't really want to be connected in any type of way. Not to my siblings, but to that whole situation. I did not want to be connected. I didn't want to be reminded not one iota about the whole situation. I didn't want to deal with it. So because of that, there was a point in time where I did stop talking to my siblings. Not for a very long time, because after a while, not that much longer into it, I realized I'm literally making them pay for something that realistically has nothing to do with them. As the eldest sibling, your relationship, and I don't even want to just say eldest sibling, but in general, your relationship with your parents have nothing to do with the next sibling's relationship with your parents. I could get along perfectly with one of my parents and my other two could not, and vice versa. Everybody has their own independent relationship, especially when like there's like a such an age gap, you know what I mean, like between the siblings. The relationships are going to be different. I do not want my siblings to feel, I did not want my siblings to feel how his siblings feel, which is that you abandoned me, you left me, you just up and left without explaining anything. What the fuck do I have to do with y'all two not getting along, especially when you're old enough to formulate or to cultivate or have a relationship without any of the other parents? I think it's very important, specifically as the eldest sibling, that you stay around as much as possible. You cannot deal with your parents at all. But you need to be there for your siblings because they're going to need somebody to turn to when shit hit the fan back at home, if it ever do. It could be perfectly fine, but let's just say the chance that the same shit you went through, they end up going through, they need somebody to turn to. And if you're cutting off all communication, they don't have anybody else to turn to. And I really feel like that's where, because even Jordan said that was her problem. She said, when I had a boyfriend, I can't turn and say, oh, my big brother is gonna come, this, that, and the third. I don't have that. Same thing for I'm sorry, Jordan. I said Jayden. Jayden said that. And Jordan, I'm pretty sure he feels like that the same way. And he's a boy, so I'm pretty sure he's looking at like, bro, you're supposed to be my older brother. You're supposed to be somebody that I'm supposed to go to, somebody I'm supposed to turn to, and you literally just left me. He said he hadn't talked to Lil Mark since 2007. We're in 2021. I mean, they probably funked us in 2020. That's a long time to go without talking to your sibling, especially if they're calling you and you ignoring the call. But at the same time, that is wrong. But at the same time, I so empathize and understand Mark that it's not funny. I understand him to a deep level. Sometimes you have to step away to save yourself. You have to. You have to. And something that I did that I will never ever like implore anybody else to do is, as the elder sibling, do not put yourself, put your mental, your physical health, don't push back your career, don't do any of that because you're concerned about your siblings. And I know that sounds cruel, but listen to what I'm saying. If you do all of that, first of all, it's not your responsibility. That's just kind of where it starts and ends. It is your responsibility as the older sibling to be there for to be there for your siblings if they need it, if they need a shoulder to cry on, if they need somebody to turn around and say something to. Absolutely. But it is not your responsibility as the eldest sibling to raise those children. You need to still be able to go and live your own life. And they might not understand right then and there because clearly Jordan does not. He might not understand it right then and there. Give it a little bit of time. He will get it. You cannot sacrifice yourself. Okay? You can't sacrifice yourself and your well-being, and your mental well-being in particular, because you're so concerned about what's going on back at home. You can't do it. You will lead a miserable life. I am telling you from experience. There are so many things I did not do because I wanted to be there for my siblings so badly. And I had to get to a point where I had to realize that is not my responsibility. I did not have those children. Yes, I will be there if they need me to pick up the phone. Yes, they all know I'm turned up queen. My siblings know that if some shit really hit the fan, whether I got to do with our household or outside of our household, I'm turned up queen. I'm the one you call on the bat line when shit needs to be rearranged, when furniture needs to be moved. I'm that sibling. However, you can't then put your whole life on pause because of that. And again, I think that Jayden and Jordan, as they get older, they will understand. But I 150% understanding removing yourself from a situation because you can see it going two ways, and either of those ways are not good. They're not good. Somebody's gonna end up in jail. Somebody's gonna end up dead. That's real life shit. That's real life shit. So I understood Mark, like wholeheartedly. Okay. We do have a point where where little Mark ends up going and he talks to, his father, and he talks about, how there was a point in time where I really wanted to hang myself because I wanted to understand what was it about me that you couldn't love? Why you can't show me this type of same adoration or love that you show the younger ones? And I understood when his father was like, hey, well, I realized I did stuff wrong with you, and so I tried to do it better with them. And Bondi Blue said this, and because I just watched her live, and she's the one who like kind of inspired me to do this, because she said a lot of things that I think are so true. That's wonderful that as a parent you want to do better with your younger ones, but you still need to go back and rectify what you messed up. That is a fact of the matter. Because see, you think that you're doing better by helping these younger ones or quote unquote doing better. But my question is, how do you know that you're doing better if you never even talked to or rectified the mistakes that you've made? Maybe if he would have actually talked to little Mark and sat there and understood where he was coming from and understood how he hurt him, then maybe he could take that information on top of what he thinks he already knows and then apply it to his younger ones and say, hey, you want to know what? Well, Mark did tell me that I said XYZ in the third. And that's not something I thought that I should be working on. But maybe it is. And then you can use that information to do better with your younger ones. But when you just say, oh, I'm going to just do better with them, and that one's just, it's just a fluke, it just is what it is, it happened, it's over. We still, everybody, every single person is affected on how they grow up by their parents. Every single person is. It's not one person in this world, even if your parents wasn't around, that affects you too. So going back and rectifying certain situations, you have to as a parent. I'm sorry, I'm talking from experience. As the eldest, if you want to do better, if you fucked up with your oldest and you're trying to do better with your youngest, it's best that you sit down with your oldest and understand where and how did I go wrong. And you tell me from your experience how I can fix it and make it better for the other ones. Versus you just going off at the top of your head of what you think you should be doing. Because you don't know. You don't know for sure. That was something that Bondi said that really really got to me. Let me see what's here. Let me see here. So we also talked about at the very end about how Grandma, like I said, I'm not gonna really touch on everything. This is the last thing I really want to touch on, and then I'm done. Grandma Dorothy had apparently at one point in time said to Jayden, you know, you fast and this, that, and the third. And Jayden was real. She was like, I don't know if I can forgive you right now. And I'm here for it. I appreciate her saying, like, I'm not sure yet. I'm going to have to sit on it. And she also talked about, Jayden said, you know, something else, because she had it written down about the stuff that she did. She was like, you called me fast one time when I did absolutely nothing. And you talked really bad about my mom in front of me. That's what I want to touch on right now. See, this is the thing. This is why I always tell people, be careful about who the fuck you have around your kids. They also sat there and talked about at the table about how Ashley, you know, was, I can't say it on here, but you know, she was, something happened to her inappropriately, and it was at a party at her dad's house. And you know, she could hear her dad outside laughing while what was going on. This is why you have to be careful about who the fuck is around your kids, okay? Outside of them going to the extreme of what happened to Ashley, you don't know. This is why I say all the time, me personally, I don't really know how I would feel about having somebody who don't like me around my children, because it ain't no telling what you're saying about me in front of them. And shit like that happens every single day. You know, as adults, you try to be like, let's leave the kids out of it. You know, that's their relationship with their aunt or their uncle, or they got nothing to do with me, even if you don't get along with them. But the thing is, people are disrespectful. You got a problem with me, you got a problem with me. You don't sit in front of my child and talk about me. That's just like as a sibling, regardless of whatever relationship it is that you have with your parent or your parents, you should never, as a sibling, specifically as the eldest sibling, sit in front of your siblings and tell them, fuck her, fuck them, fuck them, fuck that. That's not your place. That's out of pocket. Because their relationship with them is their relationship with them, and your relationship with them is your relationship with them. So shit like that to me is out of pocket. Y'all gotta be careful with who y'all have around y'all kids. And I know it's something that people say, but it's some real shit. Even your own family, more than anybody. The main people you need to be careful with is your fucking family, because those are the people that will really damage your kids. I'm telling y'all right now from experience, personally, seeing it myself, being around it, watch who y'all have around y'all kids, specifically family members. It is not a game. You think because they're your family that it's fine and it's all good. You have no idea what people do when they behind closed doors. You have no idea what happens when you drop your child off at that person's house and you walk away. Have clear boundaries across the board. Talk to your kids. Don't yell at them. Don't scream at them. Talk to your children. Make your kids feel like they can come to you if something out of pocket like that happens. If they sitting around and they hear Aunt such and such or Grandma Dorothy sitting up there talking, you need to know that your child gonna come back and tell you, and you're gonna handle that. You don't talk about my child in front of me. You got issue with me? You come to me. And that was Miss Dorothy's problem. You had a problem with Jamil because you felt like she was stealing your quote unquote man, which goes back to the first conversation I had in the beginning about y'all making y'all sons y'all emotional husbands, and it's not cool. So because you have an issue with her, you now gonna take it off on take it out on their offspring. Watch who be around y'all kids. That's the main thing I want y'all to be taken away from this. Watch who be around y'all kids. I gotta go. I'm a boy.